With Doom the Dark Ages revelations on the rise, today I figured that it would be the perfect time to talk about Doom's pistols. What do these two have in common? Nothing really. So why am I here even talking about this? I find it to be a very interesting topic because for a franchise that's defined a first-person shooter genre, Doom has a surprisingly weird relationship with pistols. In the games which do contain a pistol, it often gets immediately outclassed or it actively works against the game's combat flow. Some games like Eternal and Dark Ages simply just don't give you the pistol at all. It's honestly kind of impressive, and that's strange because the pistol is usually one of the most important weapons in any shooter. It's the first gun you touch, the gun that teaches you how the game feels. It's your fallback when everything else runs dry, and in a lot of shooters, pistols don't outright replace your weapons but rather offer some kind of purpose. Doom has never really cared about that. The moment you find a shotgun, the pistol just starts collecting dust. Oh, you found a chain gun? The pistol may as well just not be in the game's code with how often it sees the light of day. In later games, the problem slightly changes, but the results stay the same. And that result is that you simply just do not ever want to use the pistol. Keyword here is want. Overall, this isn't just about damage numbers or fire rate. Granted, it does play a bit of a role into it. A weapon can be statistically weak and still be really fun. Look at Doom Eternal's combat shotgun. Its main fire is literally useless, and the moment you get sticky bombs, then those become the main fire of that weapon since they're actually really good. It can be situational and still have a reason to exist, as in my opinion, the best sidearms aren't necessarily the strongest ones. Let's kick things off with our beloved classics and where this problem has been born, Doom 1 and 2. Now, to be fair, calling this thing bad without any context isn't entirely fair. Back in 1993, this was one of the first weapons heaps of players ever used in an FPS game. It was simple, responsive, accurate, and it did exactly what it needed to do, which is teach you how Doom worked. Which brings us back to our previous point. It's a PET scan weapon, and a really fucking inaccurate one at that. It's greatly helped by the fact that for some reason, the very first shot you fire is always going to be a precise shot. Though if you hold click after that, the bullets may as well hit enemies in a different game. If you pace your shots, you can pick off distant enemies without much trouble, and against weaker demons like zombie men or imps, it gets the job done just fine. By the opening minute or two of the game, the pistol is perfectly serviceable. Problem is, that's about all the time it gets. A minute or two, and in higher difficulties, seconds. Getting your hands on the shotgun is incredibly simple, and not long after that you'll also be getting the chain gun. Oh boy, the chain gun. You see, both the pistol and the chain gun use bullets. They're effective at roughly the same ranges, and they're both hit scan. But the chain gun fires so much faster that it completely overshadows the pistol in almost every single situation. The moment you have it, the pistol is over. It's gone. Need to kill a group of weaker enemies? Chain gun. Stun locking a dangerous target? Also chain gun. Need sustained damage at medium range? Also chain gun. You get the idea. There's never really a moment where the pistol is the better option. A lot of games keep the starting weapon relevant by giving it some sort of unique advantage. Maybe it's more accurate, or it reloads faster, or maybe the devs are feeling spicy and they make it deal bonus damage on headshots. The original Doom pistol has none of that. Not even the accuracy. As a matter of fact, the chain gun also replaces that really specific quirk that the pistol had, where the first shot is always pinpoint accurate. Because if you fire the chain gun once, then the first two shots it fires are guaranteed to be pinpoint accurate. Oh, but what if a demon needs one shot to be killed instead of two? Look, I get it. There are some really fucking difficult maps out there which give you unbelievably tiny amounts of ammunition. But I feel like if the ammo scarcity is bad to the point you need to save singular bullets, then you probably have bigger balls to scratch. I'm sorry. Granted, you could make the argument that the pistol itself isn't really terrible. It's more so an issue with the fact that the rest of Doom's arsenal is just far more exciting. You have a bloody shotgun that defines the genre, a rocket launcher that paints rooms red, the fucking BFG that can evaporate a boss in a singular shot. Then you have this dinky little thing. Which is such a shame because god, I love me a good pistol. Sometimes I even use this thing when coping about the fact that my favorite franchise just does not have a good pistol in it. Oh, Jesus Christ, our graphic fidelity just spiked up to 11, what happened? Doom 3 is a very good Doom game. Yes, you heard me right, Doom game. After the original games, Doom's relationship with the pistol changes quite a bit. Instead of being a weapon you abandon after the first level, Doom 3 actually tries to make the pistol a legitimate part of your arsenal. And for a little while, it actually succeeds. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is probably the most practical pistol in the entire franchise. It's accurate, it's surprisingly reliable at medium range, and it doesn't burn through ammo nearly as fast as the machine gun. If you're dealing with a lone zombie or a couple of weaker enemies, the pistol gets the job done without wasting more valuable ammo, which is quite a vastly different change of pace considering the overall resource scarcity of Doom 3, and how the chain gun doesn't outright replace it. This is also the type of game where not every encounter demands a shotgun. Sometimes a pistol is enough. Also, look at it. It looks like the Sickos from Warframe, and I think that's just sick. Just me? Unfortunately, that's where the compliments just kinda start to run out. For starters, this thing just doesn't feel very satisfying to shoot. It feels very flirty, and the recoil is barely noticeable. Hell, enemies don't even react much when they hit, making every shot feel like it lacks impact. It works, but it never really feels powerful. And in a game where every weapon is supposed to help sell the atmosphere, the pistol ends up feeling weightless. To be fair, I feel like that could be said for a lot of guns in this game. However, I don't think the biggest problem is the gun itself as much as it is everything around it. Doom 3 is infamous for one mechanic in particular, that being the flashlight. Unless you're playing BFG Edition, like I am doing here in this footage, you can't use your flashlight and your weapon at the same time. So, every dark hallway turns into this fun game of lighting up the room to spot the demon, putting the flashlight away, firing a few shots only to realize you've lost sight of your target, so you pull the flashlight back out and then repeat that process over and over. And because the pistol is one of the weapons you'll be using the most early on, it's the one that suffers the most from this constant interruption. Instead of feeling like a dependable sidearm, it becomes part of the mechanic that constantly breaks the flow of combat. Even later in the game, once you've gotten stronger guns, the pistol never really evolves beyond being the quote-unquote flashlight weapon option. Still, I have to give credit where credit's due. Out of every pistol in the series, this is the first one that actually has a reason to stay in your inventory after the opening level, even if it may not be particularly fun or memorable. And here we are. Say hello to Doom 2016, 12 entire years after Doom 3's release, and this might be the strangest pistol in the whole franchise. At first glance, you'd be right to assume that its software finally figured it out. It's got infinite ammo, it's got perfect accuracy, and it even sounds really good. And this is also excluding the whole upgrade system. And unlike previous pistols, it even has a secondary function, allowing you to hold down the trigger to charge a more powerful shot. On paper, that sounds like exactly what the franchise needed. A reliable sidearm that never runs out of ammo, capable of picking off weaker enemies or finishing off larger ones without spending precious resources. So, why does nobody remember this thing? Simply put, it just don't fit. It's much like the salami lid. Everything about the game's combat is built around momentum. You're constantly encouraged to stay aggressive to do quick switching, blurry kills and the like. Things that keep the action moving. Hesitating outright gets you killed. The pistol asks you to do the exact opposite. Instead of moving, you are encouraged to stop to line up your shot, hold the trigger, and finally fire. This is something that might work in another shooter, but it just does not work here. Even if you ignore the charged shot entirely. First of all, why would you? The regular fire just doesn't justify itself. By the time you have found your second or third real weapon, you've already got better options for just about every situation. The combat shotgun tears up anything up close, the heavy assault rifle is more effective at range, and before long you'll have precision weapons that completely outclass the pistol's niche. The assault rifle even has a scope mod that even further shits on the pistol's accuracy. Infinite ammo sounds like a huge advantage, until you remember that this game practically chucks ammunition at you. It literally solves a problem that the game barely lets you experience. Between pickups, chainsaw, as well as regular glory kills, running completely dry is really fucking rare. I am purposefully not talking about Rich Get Richer. If it doesn't exist, then it can't hurt me. Yes, I am going to talk about this one as well. I am not even sure if this is common knowledge at this rate, but Doom Eternal does actually have a pistol. I have no idea in which point in development this thing was scrapped, but you were definitely not meant to see it. I really do not have much to say about it. It exists. It's fine. What I find to be the wildest thing about it is that it's not even that bad. I do entirely think it really doesn't work with the combat flow of Doom Eternal, but it's also really unique. Like, look at his animations. The fact that it's a burst fire with a single shot alt fire genuinely just tickles my brain. That being said there, I am glad that they've rolled with the decision of outright not including the pistol in newer titles, especially in the Dark Ages. Can you imagine seeing the 700-ton tank whose ass can visibly shake a 30-story tall mech wield a dinky little pistol? Oh god, imagine if it was some sort of gilded demonic magnum revolver there. Oh, that's sick. So, after all of this, which pistol is the best? You see, it's hard for me to say that I actually like any of them. I really like Doom Eternal's pistol, but considering its cut, I don't think it's very fair to include it, so I would probably have to go with Doom 2016's pistol. It's nowhere near as bad as classic Doom's pistol, and it also doesn't basically demand you to use it the way base Doom 3 did. It exists, and it can work, even if barely. Now, if you'll excuse me, the Dark Ages DLC is going to be releasing very shortly after this video drops, so I am going to go back to my corner where I visibly and audibly shake in excitement. Thank you so very much for the support, and thank you so much for watching. I'll be catching you all in the next video.